Hi there, and thanks for joining me for this week's Wheel and Anchor newsletter. I'm here today in the western part of Quebec, enjoying a few days in the nature before I make my way back to my home in Thailand. And this week, I wanted to discuss the topic of off the beaten track destinations. A lot of members ask me about if we can travel to some places that are a little bit out of the way. And this week, we released our Explore Caucasus program, specifically to the republics of Georgia and Armenia. And this is really an out-of-the-way destination for a lot of travelers. A lot of people actually can't even place those countries on a map, let alone consider traveling there. And it was actually our first destination of Wheel and Anchor back 4 years ago. And I'm really excited that we're going to be going back there because, as I say, it's for a lot of people, it's not on the map. And those members who traveled with us back in 2018 really had to sort of think hard about why it is that they wanted to go there in the first place. And it took a little bit of convincing, but I can honestly say we had a fantastic trip. So I've got 5 reasons why you might consider traveling to the Caucasus region. First of all, the mountains. The Caucasus mountain range is the highest mountain range in Europe. And of course, a lot of us often think about Mont Blanc and the Alps. But if we look over to southern Russia and as I say, the northern border of Georgia, we have several mountains over 5,000 meters, and they are incredible. In fact, we'll visit one of the highest settlements in Europe, situated over 2,000 meters above sea level. So the scenery is truly breathtaking. Second of all, the history of this region, which goes back well over 1,000 years. We see that in the monasteries, the churches, the temples, and particularly one place in particular that strikes out for me is the Varzia cave monastery that we visit in the southwestern part of the country on the border to Turkey. And this was built back in the 12th century and comprises some 600 caves where 30,000 people used to live. One of the many fascinating parts of the history of this incredible region. I certainly think that one of the best things for me about Georgia and Armenia is the food. And again, those who traveled with me there before will attest to that. They have amazing food. And one of the tidbits of information that we learned when we went there is that most of the food in Georgia is actually organic. Why? The country was so poor during the Soviet times that they couldn't import pesticides. So they didn't actually have the money to buy all that stuff that at the time was, vogue to put in your food. And so as a result, the farm to table cuisine that we know so well at home is kind of second nature for them. And as a result, you have a quality of produce, of vegetables, that the taste of which you've never had anywhere else. It's really quite remarkable. And some unique dishes, my favorite being kinkali. It's a Georgian style of dumpling filled with meat, filled with vegetables. Truly, truly amazing. Another reason to visit this part of the world is, of course, the wine. And of course, with great food comes great wine. And Georgia has one of the oldest winemaking countries in the world, and the industry there dates back some 8,000 years. And when you see the methodology they used to produce wine back then, which is still done today, they age their wine in kveveries, these large clay pots that they bury under the ground. It's amazing to try some varietals that you don't normally see at home. And so anybody that has a little bit of oenophile sort of tendencies will certainly enjoy a trip to Georgia. And of course, the hospitality there for me is really one of the best things about Georgia and Armenia. In particular, they have a tradition of toasting. The so-called tamada at a Georgian supra, a Georgian feast, will always give a toast to God, to friends, to family, to love. And it's an amazing tradition, one that I think is worth embracing, not just when in Georgia, but frankly, taking home a little bit. So these are a few of the things that I think make a visit to this very unique part of the world worthwhile. We're going to be heading there the end of September of next year. If you missed our webinar earlier this week, you can download a copy of it, a replay of it in the blog below, and we'd be delighted for you to come along and through a great trip through Georgia and Armenia next year. So next week we have our webinar on our Palaces of India program. We're going to be taking a journey through Rajasthan, through some of the most spectacular palaces that you'll not only visit but also have a chance to stay in. So tune in for that on August the 9th at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And in the meantime, I'm going to soak up some sun here in the beautiful Canadian summer, and I look forward to catching up with you again next week.